going to fill up our pot of water for our lunch at this point, because the mushrooms are going to take a while. And we'll be back. Okay, so now that we have our water going, we want to add all the frozen kitchen waste that we've collected. Now this is
I'm gonna have a sip.
bits of carrot, bits of onion, including the skins, some cabbage. We got carrot greens. We got peppers, garlic. Now the thing is, we might even have some tomato in here. The thing is, when you have a nightshade plant, nightshade is known for being poisonous.
What?
So I like to take the stem off of it because I don't want to take a chance with my kids. But everything you would normally throw out from your kitchen, plop it right into this pot. So tomatoes, peppers, eggplants,
Mommy, when are you going to try that new mango?
potatoes, those are all types of nightshade. There's many more. Over whatever part of the plant that you do not eat, don't put in. If it's poisonous when it comes to nightshades. And because I don't know if the stem of a tomato plant or the stem of a pepper plant is poisonous, I'm not going to take my chances and I'm not going to put it in. You know, you can eat the seeds, you can eat the flesh, but I'm not sure that you can eat the stems. I think I might even have some lettuce in this. And some garlic cloves that I opened and never used. Onions, cucumbers. I don't see any peppers in this. Carrots, cucumbers. I'm going to have to take some of the water out to fit this stuff. I still have some peppers left. Piece of tomato. Pepper. 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 Okay, so the reason why we're doing this is because I read online at several different places that you can take your kitchen waste and make a vegetable stock out of it. You could use this vegetable stock for soup, you could use this vegetable stock for rice, for gravy, for just about anything. So I'm making it as an experiment to see if it tastes good. I do have a backup plan for the broth of the soup that I'm making for lunch if this does not work out. I put that on high, I'm going to bring it to a boil, and I'm going to drop it to simmer so that it'll simmer and get all the juices of the vegetables out. Okay, so we're back to our soup. I wound up switching the containers out earlier on because it was just bubbling all over the place. So I'm going to move your location for the duration of this just out of safety. Okay, what you can't see is I have a pan and a strainer in the sink. What I'm going to do is bring the vegetable stock, which doesn't smell too bad, back up to a boil. I had it on simmer, letting all the juices from the vegetables come out and mix in with the water. And while it's coming up to a boil, I need an extra bowl. I'm going to get my vegetables ready. Get my vegetable waste out of this bowl because this one's bigger. Move you back down for now. Okay, put this over here. Take the mushrooms, again, make sure you get all of the dirt off of it. Try not to get the water into your container. You're going to cut the end off because it's hard, and you're going to slice up the mushroom however you want it for your soup. I'm going to dice mine up for smaller pieces because I have smaller children that I'm going to be feeding with this. I'm going to put it in a bowl. Again, these are baby bellas. They're just small, early picked portobello mushrooms. They are by far my favorite in flavor, and they're less tough than regular portobellos. I mean, they're the classic mushroom you think of here in the U.S. Most common one found on pizzas when you order. Now remember, when you cook up the mushrooms, they're going to shrink. They're going to become smaller. So you want to add more visually than you would. You're doing this visually. What, baby? Mama's making lunch. Now, I don't go for looks with my foods. I go for practicality, as in, are the pieces small enough that my daughter will not choke on them? And taste. Is this going to taste good? However, the person who designed my kitchen did not have practicality in mind. There's no storage space, so most of my counters are storing my non-perishable foods like rice and sugar. Whereas my oven, when not in use, typically will house my pots and pans. What? Mama, what? Portobello mushroom. You can't eat it until it's cooked. Okay, so I've got my mushrooms done and my vegetables back up at a boil. I'm going to move my mushrooms. I'm going to put my strainer back into my pot. I'm going to turn off this burner. I'm going to take the soup and I'm going to slowly pour it into the strainer. And I'm going to let the vegetables sit there and cook, drip down all the juices into the container. Okay, so while that's dripping, we're going to continue to get our vegetables ready. Take the cubanellas, and we're going to slice them up as well.
We have seeds in there.
Yes, I understand that, Ember. Now just remember, we're making a chicken vegetable soup with a vegetable stock from kitchen waste. So we don't need to be completely perfect with how this is coming out. add it to our mushrooms. Now my husband likes to pre-cook the mushrooms. I'm just using the same bowl for the rest of the stuff, but pre-cooking the mushrooms, they absorb a lot of butter and they give a richer flavor to the soup. So I'm just slicing bits of this cubanella. And adding them up here. Now, I'm in debate as to whether or not to add a second one. So I'm going to wait on that and move on to my celery. I want the celery into small pieces. I'm going to put about 2 sticks of celery in. 2 of the thinner ones. Now the tricky part is the red top turnip and the carrot. So we're going to skip that right at the moment. We're going to snip the ends off of the green beans. And we're going to cut them again into bite-sized pieces and try and be as uniform as possible. I'm going to add those to the mix. The smaller they are, the more tender they are, and the more flavor they have. The larger they are, they still have flavor, just not as much, and they're a little more tough. These are one of the easiest things to grow in your garden. And they produce overabundancy. Just one bush will produce more green beans than the normal household can eat. Trust me, I've done it before. I was out there every single day picking a new batch of green beans. Most of my childhood. And so, Got a few here. Gonna save a few for the kids to snack on. Okay.
This is a blankie, not a towel.
Amber, just pick up and give her a wipe. And whenever I'm making soups, I always have to remind myself I'm making a soup and not a stew. So I start to put in more vegetables than I really should. So I'm going to call it a day with the green beans, put these guys back in the bowl. I'm going to chop the ends off of the carrot and peel it. That's my phone.
Hey. Anna, come here. Wait.
Now the skins of the carrots have the most amount of vitamins in them. However, I can't get anybody in my family to eat them. So we're going to cut it into small pieces. I like to shred the carrots when I'm making soup. However, I'm being lazy and I'm in a rush. This is just one decent sized carrot, cut into tiny pieces. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. Doesn't have to look pretty. Okay, so when we do the turnip, we peel the skin, we cut it into pieces like this. A little bit smaller than we would the carrot. And we take a couple cloves of garlic, chop the ends off, and we simply peel it. Now this is done dripping. So I'm going to take the vegetable stock and I'm going to put it back up on the stove and we'll be back. Okay, so now that we have our broth back up on the stove, let me show you. It is a nice, deep, dark, almost purple color. I'm going to taste it. Take a little spoon. Scoop it out. And it's not bad. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add some chicken to it. A little bit of salt.
What is it?
This is vegetable stock that we're going to make soup out of. There's no salt or seasoning in it.
No.
It needs salt.
Yes.
It needs chicken. But other than that, what does it taste like? Like broccoli?
Broccoli, eggnog.
Full of vitamins. And it's concentrated. Okay. So I'm going to take a handful of salt. So I'm going to salt the water just a bit. And I'm going to put the rest of the salt in a bowl for later use because I'm tired of shaking out that whole big thing. Okay, put that aside. You can take the chicken out of its plastic. And I got 2 breasts in here. I'm going to take the whole breast, stick it into the soup. Probably going to take 2. And I'm going to reboil that on the back burner. And now that I have put the chicken in, I'm going to need... While it's cooking, I'm going to be doing up the vegetables that I'm going to throw in. Got a pan on a medium heat with some butter melting. Now that the butter has begun to melt the bottom of the pan, I'm going to put a pinch of salt and some pepper into it. And take my vegetables, carrots, turnip, garlic, green beans, celery.